Hey, what's up? This is 36 Drew coming to you with live commentary of Game 3 of the Hope Clan Finals. Of course, we have Ryan, MANCL, aka the Waterboy versus Flooky, and the map we're playing on is Northwest Territories. This is going to be a China mirror with Ryan in the 6 o'clock position and Flooky playing in the 12 o'clock position. Let's take a little bit of a look around the map here and analyze the hunt situation this early in the game. Ryan has two large hunts to the south of his base right here and a large hunt to the north. Flooky, on the other hand, has a couple of large hunts to the left of his base and another large hunt to the right of his base, perhaps a little bit further away. In terms of mine placement, Flooky's mine being in front of his town center may prove to serve as a disadvantage to him. Meanwhile, Ryan's mine is to the south of his base, and that'll prove to be probably useful should we see some early harass in front of the bases. In terms of the second mine placement, neither player has a particularly good one. However, I'd have to say that Ryan's is at a particularly large disadvantage just because it is located so close to the water and it is so close to potential incoming attacks and armies. Of course, he could choose one of these southern mine locations first off. And early on, he's gathered a 120 XP treasure and also 150 XP gathered by Flooky, so basically the same treasures. This map has some really heavy-duty treasures that either player can gather, and of course, since both players are China, they have a huge potential for early treasure gathering on this map. I don't expect that either player will take the sea in the form of gathering. However, you never know if one or the other player may throw some military ships in the point. You'll notice right there, Ryan's drop-off point is in a pretty strategic location. I'm not sure if it spawned there or if he used some line of sight to change the location. And early on, he is going to be spawning two villagers with the villager, town center, and house spawn card. Let's take a look at Flooky. And he has yet to play his first card, actually, which is a little bit interesting. Not sure. It looks by the reason he is doing that is because he's planning on getting another village up, so that he's actually going to spawn 3 villagers instead of 2. It'll be interesting to see if it was worth the villager seconds for him to do that. In the long run, yes, it will be. In the short run, we'll just have to see what happens. And again, Ryan has just picked up an 80 wood treasure, so let's go back to his view. And he's actually able to get up a third house too. And it looks like he's cancelled and resend the Northern Refugees card. So he is indeed going to be able to send 3 villagers and not really at much of a cost in terms of villager seconds. And of course, he's sitting there and he's hanging out beside another 80 wood treasure. That's really going to help him out quite a bit. Meanwhile, Flooky is able to gather a 2 sheep treasure, which he'll probably just task on his village to fatten up a little bit, and he'll take the XP that he gets from that treasure, of course. Let's take a look at Flooky's base as it stands from the Fog of War point of view. Really, he doesn't have a ton of the maps scouted right now, but that's not particularly unusual for this point in the game. However, he sees all of the major hunts on his side of the map and 2 fairly strategic mines, the one that started there and the second one. Meanwhile, Ryan, he has seen another one of his major hunts, as well as a couple of the important strategic mines. So neither player really knows much about the other base's location. However, they each know where good second hunts are, and really at this point in the game, that's all that matters. I would expect here probably that we're going to see both players age up with the Summer Palace. However, you never know. We might see a bit of a creative build order, and I'm not exactly sure what strategy we're going to see here. We could see some early colonial harassment, throwing up a consulate in the mix. We could see a full-out colonial rush. That's a pretty popular alternative. And again, Flooky has a bit of an advantage just in that village is forward, and he could have units spawning out from the forward location. Also, we could see an FF or perhaps a semi-FF with, a 7-step rider shipment thrown in, or any of those things. Maybe we'll also see one of the sides get walled off, or possibly even both sides walled off. We could see more of an economic gameplay here, where players get up markets and they decide to, go a little bit heavier on the eco. It's really difficult to say. Anyway, let's take a look at Flooky's deck here. And you notice it looks pretty standard to me, all the usual 300 export, the 3 military shipments, the 3 crate shipments, and then in the third age, everything looks pretty standard to me. And he has, of course, chosen a water deck. It'll be interesting to see if that has any significance. Ryan, on the other hand, we'll take a look at his deck. Looks somewhat similar. He only has 2 of the Age 2 military shipments, and he has a few extra eco cards in there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And of course, Old Hand reforms in Age 4. That's not surprising at all. And there he goes, aging up with the Summer Palace. Looks like quite a little bit. Oh, and there goes Flooky aging up with the Summer Palace too. Really not a huge difference in train time there. He has 3 villagers tasked on building that wonder, make that 4, now that the 4th one has gone onto it. And also 1, 2, 3 villagers, 4 villagers building the wonder for Flooky. So really, this is quite similar in terms of build order. Ryan has also, since that 80 wood treasure, gathered a 60 wood treasure, and Flooky has gathered just a 30 coin treasure and pretty much cleared up his side of the map, less a 95 wood treasure, which would actually be really quite helpful. However, he has just missed scouting it. If we turn the Fog of War back on, that's just simply unlucky. Meanwhile, if we go back to Ryan's point of view and we look at his Fog of War, really, he's got some pretty nice treasures just floating around. Well, maybe not as nice as I first thought. He's gathered the scout treasure. He does have a little native Cherokee warrior sitting right there he could rescue. And of course, the 30% HP, he can just kind of gather that experience possibly and use his explorer as a meat shield. One of the things about the Chinese explorers, he can be put into cover mode, and really with that treasure, he could become a 1k or 1.3k meat shield. You notice Ryan's villager distribution here with some villagers on gold probably indicates that he's going to send 700 coin and go for an FF of some sort. Now let's take a look at Flooky's base, and his villager distribution is almost identical, probably indicating that he's going to go for some sort of FF as well. This map really has so many different kinds of things that can come into gameplay. Everything from monitors into in the water, into going for stagecoach, which I just actually noticed that Ryan only has 1 trading post over here. That's a bit of an unusual map glitch. Of course, the natives on this map are not particularly worth utilizing, in my opinion. The Klamath settlement has 1 good upgrade, which is basically an eco theory upgrade, but that would really only come into play later in the game. And you never know if the island on the other side of the map will come into play. And there comes the 700 coin from both players, and of course both have their Summer Palace set to provide a little bit of ranged light infantry and a little bit of light cavalry as well in the form of the standard army. Each player also has a shipment in queue, and let's see, it looks like Ryan has got a market during the age up process, not surprising, and of course Flooky does not have one at this point in time, and I would expect that he will probably get one up fairly soon. He tends to incorporate a lot of economy in his build orders. Looking to see the 700 coin shipment pop out somewhere around here, and there it does right next to those villages. Of course, that waypoint has been changed just so he doesn't have to walk all the way back to his town center. Meanwhile, Flooky, on the other hand, has gone 700 coin followed by 700 wood. I really like that build order a lot, and I know for a lot of players they can be really successful with it, especially somebody like Flooky, just simply an amazing player and really has an absolutely amazing way of utilizing that 700 wood shipment for everything from eco to military buildings to housing and so on. He always seems to have the math done 100% correctly on that build. I would expect both players to age with the same wonder. It's going to provide them with 8 skirms on the way up, and of course they'll be able to produce some flying crows from that wonder once they are aged up. Let's take a look back at Ryan's base here, and he has also decided to copy and go for the exact same build. He has 13 villagers on food, 8 on gold. Meanwhile, Flooky is almost identically set. He's got 12 on food and 8 on gold, and there he's got 1, 2, 3 villagers gone to build the Temple of Heaven Wonder. And I would expect that H2O is going to follow suit with that any second now. Right there, he's gone up with the Porcelain Tower for a little bit of economy. It'll be interesting to see if that's going to affect the balance later in this match. You notice Flooky's got a little bit of a little mask here. I would expect that one of those disciples was just converted by chance. I highly doubt that he would just spend the resources on it, because there's really not any treasures left to gather at this point in time. And Flooky decides that he's going to wall off his main entrance there to his base, and we'll see if he sends a villager over to the other half to wall that off. Not 100% sure, and that disciple's going to die. Good old critical hit and a little bit of experience. Both players are going to end up aging at roughly the same time here. Oh, but Flooky has thrown actually quite a number more villagers on his wonder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Quite a few villagers there. And he's got the War Academy going up right behind him. One of the things that I find frustrating when you're playing versus a Chinese player is that their military building, you're really not 100% sure what exactly is going to be coming out of it. I mean, you have to scout and you can expect certain shipments, although you never know, someone can throw you a curveball. But because both cavalry and infantry based units trained from the same building, I just find that to be a little bit frustrating. And there's Flooky's actually going for the double wall. So I'm not 100% sure what we're going to see here from him, if he just wants a little bit of added protection. And of course there's his market. He's got the barracks up, and right here Ryan has the exact same build, only he's gone for a barracks, different wonder, and a consulate accompanied as well. He has 307 export in queue, and Ryan has 308. Sorry, I had that backwards. However, each player basically has the same amount of export at this point in the game. There's not really any reason why anyone would see anything different. There we have Flooky hitting the age 3 at about 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Looks like Ryan is going to hit the next age just slightly later. And let's take a look at things from his point of view right now. There he has just a small little mass, and it looks like he's going to try to creep around the other side of the map there. If he tries to task units to cross there right now, they're not really going to let him. They're going to just kind of error and start to walk around, and that's going to indicate to him that a wall has been built from that side. And interestingly enough, right off the bat, he decides that he is going to go for 7 hand mortars. Interesting choice for him. And this could really be quite influential if this early village, which is going to provide some map control, goes down. But I don't think there's any chance. The armies are just simply too equal at this point in time. Meanwhile, Ryan is starting to train the Forbidden Army here, and has those 7 hand mortars on the way. Flooky, on the other hand, is going to for an eco-oriented approach, and he's going to decide to spam more villagers here. And one of those villages is going to go down, and there's going to be a bit of an exchange here, and this explorer really is going to be able to absorb a ton of damage. And Flooky's explorer is over chasing around someone at the front of his base. This guy with 10% range resistance and 1125 HP is just going to be able to absorb a ton of damage. Meanwhile, Flooky is he's going for the eco approach here, and the score is 99 to 99. This is quite interesting. We're going to see what's going to play out here, what's going to happen. Let's take Fog of War off, of course. And there's that 7 hand mortar shipment. Not sure what's going to happen here. Flooky, however, still has a substantial amount of hunts in a fairly safe location on the other side of the map there. So, I mean, we shall see what pans out there. Let's take a look back at Ryan's base and see what... He doesn't have any shipments coming in. But, of course, he's training a little bit of army, and he's got a little bit of army in queue from his Summer Palace, his wonder. And of course the Porcelain Tower is actually set to gather wood at this point in time, which of course is equal probably to about 4, maybe even 5 villagers when you're talking about wood. So that's really quite significant. And he's got the mix of iron flails and meteor hammers, and it looks like he's going to go raid with that hand cavalry army. Of course, a lot of people say that China's weakness is hand cavalry and light cavalry. And that is true to an extent. However, if you just try to go straight with that combination, I feel that you usually lose. You do need to diversify your army quite a bit more than just that. And there Flooky comes with the consulate at this point. He's going to lose this village here, although I don't feel it's going to really set him back too much at this point in time in the game. Yes, that's a little bit of map control. However, it's not going to pop him, although it is going to cost him 200 wood, and so that is an advantage for H2O at this point in the game. And again, he's continuing to grab just more and more market upgrades here, and looks like we might see a bit of an exchange here. Those heavy infantry hand attack units, the Changdo, I can never pronounce them, have the potential here to, have an impact. So, meanwhile, Flooky is sending his 10 skirms in, his 10 arcs, and if he's able to micro this properly, he might come out roughly about even, but I still think it's going to be slightly below in the attack. One of those calves just has 29 HP left, so just a single hit could severely damage him. However, he does have a significant mass of units on the way. Except dealing with that 7 hand mortars, this is going to be absolutely difficult. Meanwhile, he's going to creep in, and this is, I think Flooky's in a difficult situation here. I don't know what exactly he's going to be able to do to deal with this. He doesn't have a lot of cavalry available, though he does have a group of cavalry on the way, and he's choosing the British consulate ally right now, which is going to allow him to give 10% more HP to his land units. And there you see H2O has sent his large skirmisher shipment as well. Let's take a look back to his base. He doesn't have any other shipments on queue or too much else going on, other than that he's training the Forbidden Army, which of course is the 2 types of cavalry, and boom, you hear those units firing. This is going to be quite interesting. In terms of score, we're pretty close, and that market might not mean a whole lot, other than the fact that players are going to be able to trade resources. Flooky has pretty much all of the upgrades from it, and if these hand cavalry units, Ryan pulls them back just in the nick of time there. Those hand mortars I don't think are going to be particularly detrimental to what's going to happen to the infantry. However, they could prove to be quite a huge hassle for what happens to the buildings. And here we see, oh boy, we see H2O creeping in, and Flooky taking advantage of the range of those skirmishers, and he's actually spawning some disciples from there. Looks like he's going to add them to the mix, and hopefully they can convert some of those heavy-duty units. Ryan doesn't have a whole lot of hand cavalry, and there's a whole lot of pikemen units there to help deal with that, but again, I don't know exactly how he's going to deal with those hand mortars, and he's continuing to spawn. Oh no, that's H2O's got some disciples in queue, and here we see the redcoat muskets pop out. This is going to be huge. I don't know exactly how this is going to pan out, and those muskets going to melee. Those hand cavalry aren't going to really be able to do a whole lot on their job there, and oh, coming from the back there, we also see more skirms. This is going to be really interesting to see how this pans out. Of course, the skirms with 20 range are probably going to just decimate those redcoats that are in melee mode. However, if Flooky is able to get past those and able to get on those hand mortars, this has the potential to be really quite game-changing. And there he has 5 meteor hammers on the way. If those get here in time before Ryan is able to send any other backup, this is going to be pretty... Oh, pardon me, that's Ryan who's sending them. This could be pretty influential. Meanwhile, Flooky has 4 iron flails that are on the way, and he's got some disciples in queue. Of course, he's going for more the heavy infantry, light infantry combo from the barracks, and it looks like he's gained actually quite a large advantage here. He doesn't have his units spaced out, but that's not particularly a huge problem against these units since they're not that good. And there's a critical hit dealt to hand mortars. That's just beautiful. That's just lovely. And there you'll notice that Explorer right there, I think he's in cover mode. He's moving so slow. He's just absorbing damage like crazy. Meanwhile, those disciples have been microed beautifully to be on task on those hand mortars. And I would say here that Flooky's in a pretty good position. But then again, I've said that before, so we shall have to wait and see what happens. He's going to put up a second town center right now. And it looks like he's got a pretty good spam going on around here. He's gone to move to some other ulterior mines. He's mined out 2 of them that are on the map so far. Looks like Ryan is going to attempt to do something sort of similar on the map here, though I'm not sure exactly why it won't let me click on that. Here we have Flooky moving in with a huge mass, and we have a huge... Oh boy, this is going to really hurt Ryan a lot. He does have some units on the way, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get them in time. And really, this hand cavalry could prove to be quite devastating. There you have, like, almost these builds are identical, just by different players, and it's just all a matter of timing and micro. This other town center ends up showing in the 3 o'clock position, but there's going to be no chance that that's going to be able to be built. Flooky has a pretty big score advantage right now, 177 to 138. He decides to build his town center back a little bit, probably a very wise choice. At this point in time, I think he really just needs to buy some time. He's got some redcoats coming from the consulate as well. Just going to be nice to supplement his army, and as well, of course, that British consulate providing 10% HP to his land infantry hit points, I believe. So, however, Flooky's deciding to push full speed ahead, and he's got backup coming and on the way. Ryan doesn't have any shipments in queue right now. Flooky, on the other hand, has no shipment. Oh, he does have a shipment in queue 2, but it looks like he's just focusing purely on his micro right here, and he's got a pretty big military advantage here. Score is now 183 to 136. And he's going to push forward here. He's got red coat muskets, some heavy infantry, which is just going to mow down that cavalry, and his large army of arcs is just going to come in and provide huge support here. His explorer is sitting in the middle of this situation here, and he's spawning disciples, which really you can throw them into this battle, and I know some people say they're useless, but I think just the fact that they have the chance of converting some of these units makes them well worth it alone. Not to mention they can serve as a meat shield, and basically you can just get them thrown in the action right in the middle. And you can see the town center managed to get popped up, and those villagers, 3 of them lived and got thrown in the town center, and they're providing some fire. Some Minutemen have popped out. However, Ryan is in a bit of a bad situation right here. Really, Flooky has the military advantage. If you want to look in terms of economy right now, I'd say that his economy is probably rolling a little bit better. He has more villagers because he went for the eco upgrades off the bat, more market options, and of course as soon as he hit H3 he went for the spawn of villagers from town centers and villages. So really not too sure what Ryan can do at this point in the game. Been interesting that double wall provided us with a whole bunch of action in the 9 o'clock position. And Ryan has 2 sets of units coming out from his war academies. Both are going to be straight up cavalry units, and also from Flooky here, we have the Meteor Hammer shipment, which is about to pop out. This is actually going to be quite a bit closer than I thought here. We have a large army, and the Transcendence ability has just been used to heal the units via, I'm not sure if that, via Flooky at this point in time. Also here, excellent use by Ryan here to actually recover and sort of equalize out the score. This Explorer here is still in cover mode and just absorbing a ton of damage though, and the quicker that these Meteor Hammers can get to the battle, the quicker we're going to see some outcomes. Who's it? I'll call you back in 2 minutes. We're going to see some interesting skirmishes here, and really this has been a very exciting game. I'm not exactly sure how this is all going to play out. However, the recording is near. I've been informed that H2O actually ends up dropping at this point in the game, so he ends up receiving an admin loss, and there's not a whole lot to say more than that, so it would have been really interesting to see how this game would have played out, because the advantage was quite a bit in Flooky's favor. However, Ryan seems to have fought back quite hard and done a lot of equalizing, even though his spam, wow, like the score is now 162 to 147. This really is would have been really, really interesting to see how this game would have played out, because as we saw in the previous game, the India Mirror on Deccan, this was just a score difference of this much. Didn't really mean a whole lot, especially when you're talking about these guys who are basically the best players in the world. There's no other way of talking about it. And you know, it's kind of unfortunate, like I said, that happened. However, my hat does go off to H2O for winning the overall series, and especially for winning that India Mirror on Deccan. I didn't foresee that would have happened. Regardless, kudos to both of you for everything that you've done and for all of your hard work in the tournament. Both of you, your prize money is well earned and well deserved, and wish you the best in the future fan patch tournaments, and wish everyone the best. And I'd like to thank everyone for watching both of these VODs, all 3 actually, if you took the time to watch all 3. This of course is where H2O had dropped and received the admin loss. So let's just take a quick look at the post-game graphs. So you see Flooky gathered almost 2,000 more resources, and in terms of his villager count, his economy was just cruising at the end. He had a significantly way larger economy. However, it's not necessarily reflected that hugely in score, and if we look in military unit population, you can see how Ryan's early mass was quite a bit bigger, but then Flooky was able to battle back. I'd like to thank you all for watching. As I mentioned, this has been an N3O clan, Hope clan, joint mission. Don't you touch that dial. You better keep tuning in. This is AOE3 Heaven. Take care, everybody.